So what do you got there?
Girl, there's some stuff in here I want to talk about. Yes.
Okay, well, hold that thought, because let's go ahead and set up and do a Facebook live stream the way we do it so we can have that discussion.
Yep.
Because you know what it's like to be black in America today.
Jody Carroll with another edition of Upstream Ideas, Heart of the Matter, a show that focuses on how families are impacted by public policy. Each episode, several women will not only share their stories at my kitchen table, but they'll also give you a look into their personal lives. Recent protests and riots in Charlottesville, Virginia over a white supremacist rally added fuel to the already fiery national conversation on race relations. Is America moving forward or backward? What are our differences, and how do we begin to resolve the differences that exist? Joining me to get to the heart of the matter today are Babette Holder, a mom and activist with the Frederick Douglass Foundation, and Raquel Mitchell, an elected Wheatland Township trustee, and she's also an activist for the Frederick Douglass Foundation. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today for this. I know it's going to be a passionate conversation because it's a subject I'm passionate about. And I can't even imagine how passionate you must be over this subject, being kind of volleyed between in a way. And, you know, you're kind of in the trenches together. You have your own Facebook live feed. You guys work together. You really are in the fight together.
Absolutely, and bridging the gap in communications between the communities and diversity, that's absolutely what we do.
Absolutely.
And that is so necessary, and why I'm so excited to have this conversation, because people need to hear your side. Yes. I mean, that is drowned out, unfortunately, but it's so valuable to hear what you have to say. So let's start real quick with what's your take on Charlottesville and what that was all about.
She just jumped right in.
I know. It's an uncomfortable discussion right in the back. I'm going to say that it's willful, regressive polarization politics. They're trying to willfully create a struggle. That's my take.
I agree with you. And the crazy part about it is that on one side of that issue were a bunch of leftist crazies, and on the other side of the issue was another group of leftist crazies, but they're attributing them to the right side of the political aisle, which is not true, and that would be the white nationalists. Yes. They are not on the right side of the political aisle, and it's up to, and sometimes to have those conversations, it takes people like us to kind of educate others and
because
explain.
It's never part of the narrative.
No, it's not.
So how does that sort of marry, and does it, with more local race relations in Chicago and Illinois compared to, say, the whole national feel?
Let me tell you, for Chicago to be run by a group of Democrats or a group of people
many years,
for many years,
decades in cases,
it is one of the most segregated cities. Yes. One of the most segregated cities in the country.
Mm-hmm. And then again, once again, it seems purposeful.
Yeah.
And then you have
what's
these
the
communities.
Purpose? Why? Why would they do that?
Because,
in your opinion,
in a way, to me, it's purposeful and it's really beneficial political wise,
right.
and it's
once you keep these groups separate, then you can always pit them against each other.
Right.
You can always
divide
do that.
And conquer.
Absolutely, and you can do it between one group even on the same side of the city, or you can, and they have it perfectly. It's like it's planned, or you can do it one side of the city versus the other side of the city. So.
So it's politically advantageous. It's like a political strategy.
Yes, it is.
Political strategy.
Absolutely.
And if you notice, the left plays that politics. They always do. Even when they run their campaigns, they have this little group, that little group. It's all segregated. So,
all right. So I did not know this. I would wager that most people do not know this. that 47% of blacks, this is from a 2012 study, identify as liberal and 45% as conservative, which blew my mind. Okay, still, 93% voted for the re-election of Barack Obama and 90% of African Americans for Clinton in 2016.
Oh, that's easy, yeah.
Now wait, how is that?
That's easy.
Okay, I love easy.
Judy, the reality of it is that people aren't voting their values. They're voting for a party because they believe, and they've been told all these years, that this party is not racist, and this party will take care of their needs.
Also, they falsely believe that that party is the party of their freedom, and it's called identity politics. As a matter of fact, I get politically profiled often, and so does Raquel.
Absolutely.
People will assume we're with the left. So, yes, we call it political profiling.
I can just imagine.
Yes.
So this is where educating the voters is so important, because if you juxtapose, okay, if a lot of them are conservative, ideologically, but they're voting for Democrats, they need that little piece to say, wait a minute, what have Democrats done really for your beliefs and for your life?
We've been
for the almost 100 years.
As we've been doing this,
right.
We've asked this over and over again, and there's constant pushback. It is hard to fight the bully pulpit. It's in the media, it's in everywhere, movies, books, newspaper articles. It's hard to fight against that. Think about this: we're running election to election to election. It's incremental. There's no way to educate all these people enough to get them to vote.
And they have to willfully want to hear it.
Right.
And another thing, we don't give promises that we're going to build people's lifestyles. We promise that we will help and make it possible
for you
to do it. And so what we've seen lately is and what we're seeing lately is a lot of free, or I'm going to give you this, I'm going to get, and we know nothing is free in this nation, but that's making it even more difficult because people, blacks, I think, on a whole, as the race, do try and look more independent. If you look at a lot of their voting record, they do sometimes vote flip-flop back and forth. But now we got to fight this free this and free that.
Well, it's not just free this, free that now, because every time we're on to that, then the narrative changes. So so it's free this, free that. Now it's they're going to they are racist. They hate you.
Right. Then it becomes a character smear.
Exactly. So so we're fighting different battles. We have to keep changing the narrative as the battle changes, and they are the ones who are in control.
They're actually directing it, and we're reacting. So
there, I know you guys are, I'm sure, familiar with Charles Thomas. If you're from Illinois, 25 years on Channel 7.
Yes.
And he and Maze Jackson doing a weekly radio show. And these guys are so impressive and so inspiring because, like you, they see that your community needs to be educated. And, they're up there talking about, okay, do you know that 1 in 4 black students is stuck in an underperforming school compared to 1 in 22 Latinos, 1 in 100 whites? Do you know that the black population is facing an unemployment level that is,
highest in the nation.
Great Depression level?
Judy,
do you know about the violence? But this is Democrat policies for decades.
I understand, but here's my question to that.
Trying to bridge that gap of information of this is not serving you.
Here's my question to that. Babette and I, when we go around, we talk to all kinds of people, and even though we lead them to those conclusions by asking those questions, they don't carry it forward, and so I'm wondering, it doesn't materialize in a change. We can cite several examples. I believe it was Duncan.
Yes, Ken Duncan.
Yeah, he voted against the Democrats. You would think
Mike Madigan, the Speaker of the House, has lots of power.
But you would think that the people in that community would have seen what Ken Duncan was trying to do. He's trying to essentially.
You cannot step out of step with the lockstep group.
That's
Ken Duncan decided that he was going to go and actually do what was best for the constituents.
I agree with
that.
But
it was not what was best for the party.
But the point, I agree with you on that
one. And when the
one.
leadership is showing them that you better not get out of step with us, because that's basically he was that example.
Well, my point is that they don't carry it to its natural conclusion.
No, they don't.
You can cite all the examples and statistics you want to set, but the reality is they're not. It doesn't materialize in a vote, or it doesn't materialize in change. He was one of them. Think about this. He was one of them. He was in that community, and they voted against him for some guy that they probably never even met Madigan.
Well, Madigan did a character assassination on Ken Duncan. So
along with our president, by the way, when he visited our capital.
That's a political strategy. It's sadly a very effective political strategy.
So do you see how that all culminates? Right? You see how that all works. You can talk to your blue in the face about the statistics and what's going on, and do you see what Illinois Democrats are doing to decimate Chicago and decimate Illinois? They don't draw it out.
They use such languages calling it plantation politics, and essentially saying that Mike Madigan is the white slave owner and Ken Duncan was the slave who dared walk off the plantation, and he got a beating to let all of the other slaves know, don't you dare walk off the plantation. Those are some strong words.
Well, it is. And that analogy, a lot of people talk about it because people get, the reason, if you don't know why they would say plantation, is because of the Democrats' racist roots and the fact that they supported slavery. But going on to that, that analogy is spot on. I usually don't use those terms because I like to engage and you shut down. Right. But you cannot deny the accuracy in that, because that's what pretty much that Madigan and his leadership and everyone in lockstep said, you're going down.
That's exactly how it is. Think about this, you're right. Ken Duncan, he's trying to escape. Trying to escape the plantation. We're called coon, all kinds of words.
Aunt Jemima.
And they talk about how it's funny. It is people who look like us, who share our ethnicity. The main ones, they are the slaves who are trying to bring us back on the plantation. Crazy.
Babette and Raquel, thank you so much. I have a million more questions that I could ask. This is not a small subject.
It's not.
We need to hang out more often.
Absolutely.
Have you back on this show so we can really get into more of this very important subject.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining me today as we get to the heart of the matter. See you next time.